let's get to the elephant in the room, and that's Joe Flacco.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think there's a lot of fans that are calling for Flacco's head, saying he was terrible and this loss is on him, and he was a statue in the pocket, and there's so much that he could have done
Give us
differently. And this
Trevler.
is and give us Trevler. I've seen give us Mike White, and I'm going to be honest, guys. What do you think Mike White would have done differently?
Yeah.
Because I have no answer for that. I'm sorry. I have absolutely no answer for that whatsoever. The Jets offensive line was getting bullied. The interior of the pocket specifically was getting abused, took away any lanes to step up. Obviously, Flacco is not fleet of foot, and Mike White isn't either. Is Mike White more fleet of foot than Flacco? Yeah, but that's a really low bar.
Yeah, a very low bar.
We're not talking about much there. Both of them are going to be considered pocket quarterbacks that really need to have some amount of clean pocket in front of them to be effective. I know Mike White can make throws under pressure. We've seen it in Cincinnati. We saw it again at the start of the Colts game before he got hurt. That's not my concern. But when you're throwing against pressure every single snap, it's going to be different regardless of who you are at quarterback. And I didn't see a ton out of Mike White in the preseason to sit there and go, he looks incredible. He looks fantastic. He's getting the ball out of his hands so quick and so decisive that would have been the difference. This is where the defending of Flacco comes in, and the shifting of blame to Mike LaFleur. Flacco can't get the ball out of his hands any faster if, one, no one's open, and two, all the routes are downfield later developing. If no one's ready for the ball, get the ball out faster doesn't do anything for him. I think I saw a stat that said Flacco had the 18th highest average time to throw through starting quarterbacks last week, which I'm sure fans would probably be shocked at and thought it was a lot worse than that. But 18th is give or take middle of the road. I think a lot of that had more to do with the scheme and the play calling than Flacco himself. There were a couple opportunities I saw in the times that I've rewatched where could Flacco have trusted his receivers and tried to fit some balls in some early windows and make some plays? Yeah. But I also think there was plenty of times when he's getting ready to go through his reads and he decides not to make a risky throw and he's trying to get to the check down that's open. And by the time that happens, he's got a defender in his lap. And it's just, I really feel like this was a letdown from the offensive line. There was plenty of drops as well. We had Carter drop an open touchdown. Corey Davis dropped a ball early in the game, which credit to Corey Davis. I think he had a huge bounce back after that and really settled in, was probably the best receiver on the day. But this was not just Flacco. And I really don't think that replacing Flacco with Mike White or Strevler or anybody else
How about even Zach?
I don't think, I think Zach might have had a little bit of a difference with his mobility and his explosiveness, where maybe he could have made something happen. But on a down-to-down basis, I don't think it would have mattered, because I think this had a lot more to do with the offensive line getting beat and the play calling than it did with Flacco outright being bad. I'm not trying to say Flacco was amazing. I'm not trying to say that he was even good. But I would not sit here and say that, yes, this loss is solely on Joe Flacco and he's terrible and he's washed, and start Mike White and that'll solve everything. If that's what you're thinking in your brain right now, please get that out of your head, because it's just not true.
Exactly. You mentioned a lot of the things that went wrong around him. And I'd just like to, just replace Flacco with anybody and then go over the mistakes that happened. Would Mike White being in change the fact that we had Conklin fumble us out of contention for a touchdown? Would Mike White in there matter with Hall, a fumble, taking us out of a position to score? Would Mike White in there stop by Michael Carter from dropping a touchdown? No. And there's a number of other things. The list goes on. Does it stop the Greg the leg from missing a field goal and missing an extra point? These were points left on the field, points that we should have had, which is what I said in the beginning. We just couldn't get out of our own way. We shot ourselves in the foot. And I would go LaFleur. I would go offensive line. Then I would go ball security as the reasons why we lost. Yep. And then maybe Flacco.
Yeah, Flacco's in the top 5, but he's no higher than 4.
Yeah,
there is a lot of other things that went wrong. In particular, this is one thing I've wanted to mention because I haven't seen anyone say this, and I can't fathom why I haven't seen anyone say this because it was clear as day on the TV broadcast copy. Flacco had one interception to Marcus Williams. He's throwing an in cut to Lawrence Cager, who slipped. Cager slips. Like he's on the ground. It looks like Flacco's throwing to nobody. No, he's trying to throw to Cager, who's supposed to be cutting across the middle, and he slips and falls down. Now, with the way Marcus Williams was breaking, is it possible that it could have been a pass breakup and he would have met Cager as soon as the ball got there and broken the play up? That's possible. That's right. That's a possibility. But I can sit there and from the grading the quarterback angle, sit there and go, okay, Lawrence Cager's 6'5". He's running an in cut. I'm going to try and put the ball high because it's got to go over the linebacker. It was a little bit deeper down the field of a throw, about 10, 15 yards. So I got to put a little air under it. And I also know that this guy's 6'5" and should be able to climb the ladder and pick the ball up out of the air and make a catch over the middle over defensive backs, linebackers, safeties, etc. That's Flacco's thought process when throwing that ball. He doesn't control Cager slipping. So just like we were talking about, it would Mike White being in change Carter dropping a wide open touchdown? Would Mike White being in change Cager slipping on an in cut? Is that Joe Flacco's fault too? I don't buy it, and it's just it's unfair to me, and I feel like it's just Jets fans looking for the easy scapegoat.
It really is. I've seen people go as far as saying breaking out the compass and protractor and saying it's just geometry, man. There's no way Cager would have caught it either way because look, Marcus Williams had to jump.
And that's possible, but it wouldn't have been a wide open pick, and it wouldn't have been this terrible look at Flacco. He's throwing to nobody situation. Cager would have at least been able to maybe fight for the ball. He would have at least been in Williams' way to try and not let him get an easy pick. I mean, there's a lot of different things.
5 inches on Williams, and guess what? He can jump too. So that's just a cop out. It's just an excuse to really trash on Flacco for no reason, really, other than they just want to blame somebody and they don't really know who they should be blaming.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what it is they don't know who to blame, and so the quarterback is always the easiest one to blame. It's we got to be better than that. As fans, as analysts, as everything, we got to be better than that. We got to be able to look at things for what they are and process things for what they are. Going forward, go ahead.
Sorry, one more. I just want to reiterate that we are not saying that Flacco played a great game or even
not at all.
We're not saying that at all. I think that just needs to be stated just because defending Flacco doesn't mean that we are in love with what Flacco did.
Yeah. To wrap it all up in a bow in one easy sentence, Joe Flacco wasn't good. He wasn't the sole reason they lost. He was far from the sole reason they lost.
Yep.
It's as simple as that for me.
That's simple.